Welcome back to Inside Indiana Overtime. Jordan Gusky, Alex McCarthy, um, here at Memorial Stadium, where we just saw, I don't know, one of the worst IU losses that I've ever seen. I covered the 1-11 season, and this was worse than most of those games because that 1-11 team, that first year that Wilson had, you knew it was pretty bad. But this team, it's actually its ceiling is much, much higher than that team. They had bowl hopes. They started out 4-0, stuck with Ohio State, and you thought that maybe once Nate Sudfeld came back, things would start falling into place for this team. And it did for like 10 minutes in the third quarter. Indiana just totally dominated this game for 10 minutes, and then basically stopped playing, it seemed like. Indiana ends up losing 55-52 after leading 52-27 with 5.5 minutes left in the third quarter. It really turned around. I mean, Nate Sudfeld had a career game. He threw for 464 yards, nearly an IU record, and definitely a personal record for him. But he had he threw interceptions on back-to-back passes, and really there were three plays in the second half that really turned this game around and allowed Rutgers to get back in and eventually win this game.
Yeah, it starts off with the first play of the fourth quarter. Really, that punt the snap just went really right over Toss head. He even jumped up, arms extended. He couldn't pull it in. Then he had a chance to hop on the ball on the 30-yard line, but then a Rutgers linebacker came, just drilled him off the ball, let a lineman pick it up and run it back for a touchdown. And you thought, okay, it's not a great thing to happen, but
No.
you're still up 2 scores.
Yeah.
Even at that point, you were still up 2 scores in the fourth quarter.
Right, and your offense has scored 52 points in 2.5 quarters.
Then they drive for a little bit, and then Sudfeld misreads a pass. He thought the safety was coming out on the run, and then there's another guy he didn't really see that ended up coming down and picking off the ball. And then Rutgers comes in and they score a touchdown, and so it's a one-possession game. But still, even at that point, you think, all right, 2 miscues, but they've scored 52 points, like you said. That's going to be okay. IU's going to pull this one out. First play of the drive, Sudfeld throws another interception. Rutgers takes advantage of the short field and get a touchdown, and at that point it's tied up. IU gets a 3-and-out on its next drive, and Rutgers go down and kick the game-winning field goal. Yeah. And Wilson said the demise really even started with the kick that went out of bounds, which was a rule I didn't know. If you hit the pylon, that counts as kicking it out of bounds, and that gave Rutgers a short field, and that's when they brought it from 52-27 to 52-33. So yeah. I mean, it really at that point it all went downhill.
Yeah, it did. It was at the same time it was fast and kind of I don't know. It was like the IU offense wasn't even on the field in the fourth quarter. Yeah. They only ran 10 plays in the fourth quarter. They had the ball for 3.5 minutes,
3
right?
minutes, 29 seconds.
Yeah, of the fourth quarter. So they didn't. I mean, they just didn't really give themselves a chance with the 2 turnovers, with the 3-and-out, and it was a very un-Indiana performance, at least for 2015 standards, where they are one of the best teams in the country in turnover margin, the best team in the Big Ten. Rutgers is entered this game 13th in the Big Ten in turnover margin, and so you're thinking, okay, well that's a mismatch that's really going to play into Indiana's hands, and it's totally flipped and reversed, and Rutgers wins that battle. This was Indiana's more or less at full strength. I mean, Jordan Howard's hurt, a couple injuries. Danny Friend, tight end, Kevin Wilson mentioned after the game. He's been out for Zeke Walker, I guess, but the running game, I guess, hasn't been really up to par since Jordan Howard went out. So, but still,
even today they played well.
Yeah, they did.
Majette came out and ran a lot. He ran really well, and then and Redding even had that big 66-yard touchdown run. So it wasn't like Penn State where they couldn't even run the ball. They actually had an offense today.
Yeah,
like 52 points doesn't come out of nowhere.
Yeah, and it was unbelievable. It was, I think, a top 10 performance in Indiana history in terms of total yardage. Maybe it was 18th. It was either 8th or 18th all time in Indiana. Still, I mean, and so it's not like this is a really beat up, ghost of a team. This is the team that we thought we were going to see this season. So it kind of prompts me to think, and he has 4-3 now. There aren't that many guaranteed wins. I mean, well, there aren't any guaranteed wins left on the schedule, but there aren't easy games coming up. Do you still think this is a bowl team? Do you think they're going to win 2 more games this season after tonight?
we thought Rutgers was that game where they would pull it out. We thought, okay, they beat Rutgers, they lose to Michigan State, then you've got Maryland and Purdue at the end of the year. Those are two games that they could probably win and say, maybe, okay, they end up with 7, they go 7-5, and they make it. But at this point, they'll probably lose next week to Michigan State. You've got a tough team in Michigan who probably should have beaten Michigan State, but had a punt miscue at the end, much like Indiana's. And then you got a Maryland team which really is on par with Rutgers, and if Indiana can't close out against Rutgers, who's to say that they'll close out on the road against Maryland? And then you've got Purdue, and even though Purdue's maybe not the strongest team, they played Michigan State close. So it just doesn't seem like this Indiana team has it anymore. And even when Howard comes back, if you've got a team that can't hold a 25-point lead, that's rough. Unless they show something at Michigan State, I don't think that this team's going to be able to make it to a bowl.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, unless they show us differently, the past 2 games especially, I just haven't seen the Indiana team that we saw in the first 5 games of the season.
Completely different.
Yeah, so we'll see if they can buck that trend. We'll see if they can break this 3-game skid. But certainly, this is one of the worst losses I can remember. This is probably the worst loss in the Kevin Wilson era, I would say, in terms of what the pieces he has in place, the situation they're in. I think this is as bad as it gets.
It's one of the most confusing losses I've ever seen.
Yeah. So we'll see how they respond to it. It's more of a veteran team than they've had at any other point in the Wilson era, so maybe they can bounce back and that bye week in a couple weeks is probably going to help a little bit. But we'll see what happens next week against Michigan State, how they respond. But certainly leaves you with a bad feeling tonight if you're an IU fan or player or coach or anything. But we'll see what happens. We're going to get out of here though. So for Jordan Gusky, I'm Alex McCarthy. Thanks for watching.